On this episode of Cuesta, I am back from vacation and it is a marathon over an hour, so sorry about that. But if you listen to the whole thing, I'm pretty sure you'll be entertained because we start off talking about Tiger getting his 82nd PGA win and tying the record for the most ever, the term bandwagon fans and why I hate its overuse, some trade deadline talk for the NFL. Is Tom Brady going to leave New England or not? Adam Schefter seems to think so. I rant about the New York Jets, and David adds in as well. A little NBA talk from the opening week, how terrible officiating has been overall, and a little surprise for Garrett Cole in the World Series with some flashers there. So without any further ado, enjoy the show, everybody. What's going on, sports fans? Welcome to another edition of Cuesta. I'm Alex, and my brother David is with me as always. And David, it is good to be back.
I don't know. I kind of liked it when you were away.
Well, without you being a jerk, I have to thank you for filling in. You did an awesome job last week doing Cuesta Uno and also filling in with Rob Planter of the Playbook on Sports Opinions podcast. So much appreciated to you, brother.
Oh, thank you very much. It was a pleasure doing it.
So since I missed 2 weeks, I decided to jam-pack this week with a whole bunch of topics, and now we are going to go well over time, and people are going to be bored.
We'll see. These are pretty fun topics, and you seem to be wanting to get angry in this one. So,
I think that's just become my thing. I think I'm just an angry guy.
A lot of people. That's a lot of people.
I have to get it out. But, I made an outlet to get it out here. I talk to nice people when I do the interviews, and then when I'm here with you, I can just be angry.
Yeah, it seems to be a theme.
I got to be nice to people I don't know.
That's true.
Come on now. All right, so we got a lot to get to today, Dave. And you want to start us off here?
Yeah, sure. I'll start us off. All right, first we're starting off with a historic achievement. Tiger ties for the most ever PGA wins at 82, which is ridiculous seeing as, he won the Masters recently, and obviously that was incredible because no one ever thought Tiger was really going to come back for a while. And he's still around. He's probably going to make history with the most PGA wins, but he won the Zozo Championship by 3 strokes at 19 under, and he tied Sam Snead for all-time wins. And, it's just an incredible sports achievement. Tiger, he almost started to look like he was going to be seen in somewhat of a bad light with all the problems, but now he's back at the top. He's going to be looked at as one of the GOATs of golf, and I'm happy for him, man. Also, fun fact, this has nothing to do with sports, but since I watched Ghost Adventures and this one particular thing stuck out in my mind. Zozo is the name of a demon, apparently. I think it's Zozo, and it was a Ghost Adventures thing, and it was stupid, but I highly recommend you watch it because it's funny. Anyway, what are your thoughts on this?
You would give that nice little trivia. So my thoughts are that this is one of the more miraculous things, and I don't think it's getting enough pub as it should because, Tiger won the Masters, and everyone sports-wide was happy for him, and then he kind of faded away. He had a few good tournaments, but then he kind of faded away, missed some cuts, and I think everyone was just okay with Tiger going off into the sunset and doing his thing and just playing, but not really doing much more and maybe competing at a big tournament here and there, but nothing. I don't think we thought we would see him get to 82. I think we thought we'd see him be competitive, but the number 82, yes, it's not Jack's majors record, but 82 PGA wins, that is outstanding. And that is a great number. And, I'm hoping, I have a new hope here that we're going to see him break it. I don't want to see him tied with Sam Snead. We don't think he's going to get Jack in the majors, but if he can at least cement himself as the most winning golfer in the history of the PGA, I think that would be enough to maybe put him neck and neck with Jack if he isn't neck and neck with him already. How about you?
No, he's not gonna get Jack in the majors, but I do think he's gonna break this one. I do think he's going to come to most winningest. He's gonna do it. He obviously had to drive after the Masters to tie it. He's going to do it. He's too good even still now to not win just one more. And it's going to be great for him. And you can have the argument all day, but obviously Tiger revolutionized golf for a lot of people when he broke out, and he'll forever be known as one of the greats. No matter where you put him there, he'll forever be known.
He's definitely, I forget who I had this conversation with, one of the guests on Sports Opinions podcast, but he's the Jackie Robinson of golf.
Yeah.
He was a black man that came on to a white man sport predominantly, if not all, and just broke every rule. He was the first black guy to play at some of the major courses. He made it okay for them to allow women to play on courses that they never played on. Condoleezza Rice being a black woman, being the first historical one to be allowed to be a member of Augusta. Like, he broke so many molds with what he did, and it was unbelievable. And the fact that he continues to do it. Now, I'm curious if we're going to get wall-to-wall ESPN coverage of every tournament he's in now, because it seemed to fade a little before, unless he had a good round. But now there's got to be the Tiger watching if he gets to 83. Don't you think so?
I 100%, but I don't know about every tournament he's in, but if he's looking good in one, they're going to start really picking it up. I think that's how it's going to work. Other than that, they have the other major sports that they want to pick up. It's ESPN. It's all going to be about LeBron and certain people. But if Tiger is looking good in a tournament and he's looking like it's a possibility that he breaks it, they're going to jump to it. I think that's how they're going to run it.
As they should. And, and it seems like he's taken a little bit of a hit in certain ways because, not to bring politics in here, but his support of Donald Trump has kind of faded him into a negative light. But every time he has a negative in his life, or a perceived negative, he comes back and does something like this, and the positive just shines again, because we love this type of stuff in sports. So we just like to see this. So I'm happy for him. I'm happy he got to 82. I'm really hoping he gets to 83, because I think I've said it before, I just like seeing greatness in my life. It's just so much fun to see, because I'm looking forward to it. I have a daughter, and I can't wait to, even if she doesn't like sports, to talk to her about sports and just tell her all the cool things. I got to see the end of Jordan. I got to see LeBron be great. I got to see the Splash Brothers. I'm seeing Tiger. I saw Williams. We saw Federer. Like, you take a step back every once in a while and just notice all the greatness you've seen. It's pretty cool to take a step back and do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it always is.
But all right. So speaking of greatness or lack thereof, I'm going to go on. I think I have a few rants in this one I'm going to go on, but this is my first. This one isn't really a rant, though. This is kind of just the way I felt. And it goes on in our little friend group a lot, where we kind of mess around calling each other fake fans and talking about being a bandwagon fan. And I become to detest that term bandwagon fan, because to me it implies that the person, let's put it out there, there are bandwagon fans. There are fans who are fair weather, and there are fans who only jump on certain teams when they're good and will move when other teams are good. That happens. Drake, you are famous for a lot of things. That is one of them. Sorry. But for me, the term bandwagon has such a negative connotation, and it's used to demean other fans. And it's so overused. And the bottom line is, a lot of fans, me included, and I think you included, don't have the money to go and see all the ridiculously expensive games. The only team that has it right now is the Atlanta Falcons, who you pay for an expensive ticket. When you go there, you can eat and drink without having to give your arm up. But they don't have the time or the money to waste in that. And when their teams are good and the product is good, yeah, they'll start to spend some more money and they'll watch some more games. But, I just hate that people try to demean other fans when they decide to start paying attention when their team is good. Yes, they've been fans, but only diehards care. Only stupid Jets fans like us care when our teams are terrible. Like, how do you feel about the term bandwagon? Because it annoys me lately.
I think, listen, like you said before, there are bandwagon fans, and those fans you should never trust those guys, those people. But I think the main thing here is that a lot of people, you don't want to be depressed every Sunday. Like, that's how we're feeling as Jets fans. You don't want to, there's no reason to be depressed every Sunday. You'd rather be happy. So I get it when people are like, listen, it's a down year. I don't, like, maybe I'll have the ESPN app or something. It'll send me the score after the game's over. I don't feel like watching it. But I also feel like there's something in there for, like, fans that watch their teams even through the down years. It's kind of annoying sometimes when you see other people get in when it's going up. And even if they were a fan for a while, it's like you didn't really go through, it almost feels like they didn't go through the journey with you. Unless you knew that they were a fan for a while. Like, if you didn't know, then you're like, you're skeptical. It's like, are you sure that you knew about this team that was absolutely awful? Did you actually know anything about them? It's the journey to get to those good years that the payoff is there. And if it seems like someone didn't go through that, it's like get out of here, man. It's like, stop. It's like, you're not a part of this. So I completely understand using it. Obviously, it's going to be overused because people just like throwing things around and like annoying people. But I understand it completely. And, there's accusations all the time, and you throw them out, especially on social media, because you never know the people that you're really talking to most of the time. But, yeah, I can see what you're saying. It's overused, and it gets a little annoying, but there's definitely credence to it.
A little bit, but if you've been a fan for a long time and say like, a seasoned Jets fan doesn't watch every Sunday, but especially like you said with the ESPN app now, and even back in the day with the newspaper, a lot of times they might not watch the game, but they'll check the paper for the scores. They'll look at the stat lines. They'll do those types of things. And to me, just because you didn't invest 3.5 hours on a Sunday to watch your team get demolished, or like me and you are Brooklyn Nets fans, and now we can finally watch them with confidence, and then we watch them blow a game to the terrible Memphis Grizzlies, even though John Morant's a grown man.
3 games in. John Morant had a coming out party there. He was insane.
I said it,
but we're getting off track. I don't want.
That's
it's
fine.
already a long.
I said it
podcast.
during the draft. He's better than Zion. Anyway, but for me, I get it. Like you said, there's the emotional aspect of being a fan and going through that journey, and I see it a lot with our Brooklyn Nets fans. And on Twitter, a lot of the Brooklyn Nets things are like, if you weren't there before, don't be, and it's like, no, welcome them, especially the ones that came over with Kyrie, Kevin Durant, DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah.
A lot of people follow players, and if they can learn to like the Nets culture and stay on, why not? And a lot of these people are the people who are like, yeah, I grew up during the Jason Kidd era. Like, yeah, okay, you started watching because Jason Kidd, you idiot. So
yeah,
bandwagon fan at one point too. So
well, I definitely feel like there's an age thing here. Like if you're at the age where you're understanding what a bandwagon fan is, and then you're jumping from a team to another team, that's when people dislike it more. Like if you're a little kid and you're liking these players, like obviously it's like good, you're enjoying the sport. But if you're at a certain age and you're jumping from a team because it's not good to another one, then people are looking at you like, what are you doing, man? Like, you know better than that.
What about the fans that legitimately leave though and never go back? What do we do with them?
I mean, yeah, I think it's a case-by-case basis. It's a contextual thing. Obviously, it's for each person, however they want to decide who a fan is. But it's a case-by-case basis. Like if you were a San Diego Chargers fan, you said, oh, they're moving to L.A., this is nonsense, and you decided not to be a Chargers fan anymore, then I think that's understandable. Or like a St. Louis fan. Like, no, I think it's understandable if you're not.
San Diego to LA is not understandable. It's the same state.
You see how big that state is? That state's gigantic.
I don't care. That would be like a team going from Camden to Trenton. Stop it in Jersey.
Okay, but the thing is, I listen. San Diego, they were at least loyal. LA is an away game every time. That's the thing.
Yeah, I don't know. But, my final word is stop using bandwagon so often because you all sound stupid.
All right, then. From then on, we're actually going to move on to a little bit of the NFL trade deadline. I talked about this with Rob on the Sports Opinions podcast that I took over.
If you missed it, go back and listen to it.
Yes, of course. Now, you missed some of those that we did. Emmanuel Sanders, Mohamed Sanu. I think we did Quandre Diggs as well, which is weird because that one wasn't really – at least I didn't see it talked about a lot. But
it wasn't, and he's a starter, so that's weird.
Exactly. But anyway, so Marcus Peters was moved during the time that you weren't here and that we weren't able to talk about it. He went to the Ravens for Kenny Young and a 5th. Jalen Ramsey went to the Rams for 2 first-rounders, a 2020 and a 2021. Leonard Williams was just moved today to the Giants, a historic trade between the Jets and the Giants, first ever, for a 2023 and a conditional 2021 5th. Mm-hmm. Kenyon Drake, to the Cardinals, which is a pretty big move because Kenyon Drake's actually good at what he does.
Yep.
For a conditional 2020 pick. And Michael Bennett to the Cowboys for a 2027 round pick. All of these are pretty interesting. Obviously, they send different signals from each of these. What are you thinking about these moves?
It's weird because we're not on the deadline yet, and we're still we're not far away, but we're far enough away that these trades are just weird that they're happening, first off. Second off, I want to display my rule, which I think should be in existence. But until Brady and Belichick are gone from the Pats, if you do a deal with the Pats, including our Jets, you lose all your draft picks, except for the ones that you just traded for. Nobody should be helping that team. Stop helping the Patriots. God, they don't need it. I don't care if they want. The only person you could trade for is Brady. If you're not getting him, don't do it. I digress on that. But how I feel about some of these moves, obviously the Rams got rid of Peters for Ramsey, and that's an update. Even though Marcus Peters is a hell of a player, you see the value that he got versus what they had to give. Yeah. So that's an upgrade. Hopefully they can keep Jalen Ramsey happy because he did the superstar thing and pushed his way out of the Jags. Leonard Williams, this is the first big move really by Joe Douglas, and he fleeced our stadium team brethren to get a third this year and a conditional fifth, which is going to turn into the fourth round pick because why pick up Leonard Williams unless you're going to re-sign him for an extension? So it's going to be a fourth round pick in 2021, basically. He fleeced him. Gettleman, you might have lost your job because of that move, because Leonard Williams, without having snacks or anyone to protect him in there, he ain't it. So Jets fans know that. Kenyon Drake is interesting. He's interesting because he has starter ability, but has never shown it consistently. So maybe he'll have the chance with the Cardinals to do so because they need something. They're hurting there. Larry Fitzgerald needs help. It's not easy for him there. And Michael Bennett going to the Cowboys is interesting because that pass rush is already beastly.
Yeah.
And adding a Michael Bennett now just makes them possibly the best pass rush in the game. That's including the 49ers. That's including Chargers and including all the other teams that have good pass rushes. They might be the best. And they're going to be getting Crawford back at some point from his suspension. So That's my feelings.
Yeah. I understand basically all those feelings. Those are understandable. Those are all good feelings, I would say. But one thing I do want to say is that Rams defense consistently underperformed from what they were.
Oh, yeah.
Especially on paper. You look at that defense, you're like, oh, this should be one of the best defenses in the league. And why are you in shootouts? Why are you in shootouts? I understand you're supposed to be a high-flying, powered offense. Why are you in a shootout? That defense should be performing, but it's not. So you had to move Marcus Peters. You had to send some kind of signal. Marcus Peters was not getting it done very much on LA. He was getting burned a lot. He wasn't playing that well. So, I mean, it's a good move for the Ravens, too, because they needed someone who's at least somewhat solid. And then, the Rams went and got Jalen Ramsey because, I mean, they still feel like a Super Bowl team. They've had their down this year, but you don't pick up Jalen Ramsey if you don't think you're going to the Super Bowl either this year, next year, or in the next year.
No, I haven't watched many Rams games, but with the defense, I don't know if it's entirely their fault because Jared Goff has had his struggles. And that team, that offense has not been as prolific as we saw last year.
Yeah, but even last year they had a lot of struggles on defense.
Yeah,
they showed up in the Super Bowl.
3 and outs. I don't think it was many 3 and outs, and I don't think that defense is on the field. I think the defense is on the field a lot for the Rams, and I think they're better than what we think. But the issue is Gurley's constantly hurt, and he's not playing as much. When they can control the game with Gurley, they're fine. But the fact that it's relying on Jared Goff to win games in a shootout is putting that defense in a bad spot.
That's also true. I don't know. I just had a lot of high hopes for this defense from starting from last year, and they've disappointed me.
Well, quickly talking about defense, is Nick Bosa going to be the first ever Rookie of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year?
He might be, dude. Crap. If he keeps playing the way he's playing, he's disgusting.
If we can get one Bosa to stay healthy, either Joey or Nick, they're just gonna fight each other at the end for the Defensive Player of the Year. Both of those guys are unbelievable.
Yeah, no, it's incredible, and he is one of the anchors of that Niners defense. And that Niners team is absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, and the terrifying part is Jimmy Garoppolo is getting better every single week.
Yeah,
that's the scary part.
Exactly.
And they just picked up Emmanuel Sanders, who isn't the Emmanuel Sanders of old. He's definitely not the Steelers Emmanuel Sanders, but he's a solid possession receiver.
Still dependable, still clutch.
And
Still
he's the guy
clutch
that'll
boy
catch.
Sanders.
He'll catch underneath, and then you'll have Goodwin just take the top off.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they've been missing. They've been double teaming Goodwin, and you put him there. You have the tight end there. Oh God,
George,
it's
yeah,
going to be a fun team.
yeah. Niners are going to make a lot of noise. I'm excited
Shout out to our cousin Dan Porterways. You've been
Yes,
waiting for this,
exactly. All
but
right,
you've seen championships, so I don't want to hear it, Dan. Anyway, sorry, Dave.
But moving on from the Niners to a team that I said in Cuesta Uno had a I'm telling you right now, it's a similar style of play between the Patriots and the Niners. But anyway,
Well, Jimmy Garoppolo,
yeah. Well, anyway, but Tom Brady, news broke out that it seems like he is setting up to leave New England or retire. Now, all right, I'm going to go over everything that happened. I'm going to give my opinion first. Brady is selling his house in New England. He's also voiding his contract. His trainer is selling his house as well. You know, the whole TB12 thing and everything. Yeah, that guy's moving as well. So that's a little weird. So obviously you're going to think, okay, Tom Brady doesn't go anywhere without his trainer. They really like each other. And apparently Schefter said on Get Up, I didn't see this, but you put this in here. You said staying in New England is the least likely option. Now, for me, I don't know if there's anything else to this. All I know is basically those things. But for me, I 100% do not believe that Tom Brady is leaving the Patriots. We have seen time and time again stories come out about the Patriots year after year about, is the Patriots, it happened last year too, where there's this whole thing about Belichick and Kraft and Brady in the locker room and what's going on behind the scenes. Is that going to do anything? Is that going to damage them? Are they leaving? Belichick didn't want to get rid of Garoppolo, but Kraft did, and all this nonsense. And then they went on and won the Super Bowl, and Tom Brady is still here. So I really do not believe that Tom Brady is leaving New England. I can believe he retires. Maybe if they win the Super Bowl, maybe he's retiring. Maybe that's how much he believes this team's winning the Super Bowl. I believe he can retire. But I do not believe he's leaving New England because there is literally no reason. Yeah, you might say, he wants to prove himself without Belichick or something like that. What the hell does he have to prove? He has six Super Bowl rings. He has 7 if he wins this year. You have to prove nothing. Someone comes up to you and asks, you a system quarterback? You just show your rings off. There's nothing to prove. So he's not leaving New England, but he may retire. That's my feelings on this.
So there are a few reasons why I'm kind of buying into it. One, the source. Adam Schefter does not put out, pardon my French, bullshit. He doesn't. If he's not sold or solid, his opinion is always based off of super solid sources and pretty much facts. The dude has not gotten where he's gotten without being that way. One. Number two, I watched it. It was a clip about Get Up. I don't watch Get Up. Number one, I work. Number two, not a big fan of Greeny. Sorry, Green, you were great with Golick. Not a big fan of you solo. Not a knock on you. You had a great career, Mike Greenberg, but it is what it is. But they had a panel, Damian Woody, Greeny, and 2 other guys were there. And they brought up what you said about whether or not he wants to prove himself. And remember, Damian Woody was in that locker room with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick for years on the Patriots. What he said, which makes a lot of sense, is those men are both alphas.
No doubt.
And they have both heard all the rumors. And it would not be surprising if Tom Brady leaves, goes to another team just to beat him for one of the other to prove who's who. Because egos exist. And they've been able to coexist for now, but it might come to a boiling point, and this might be it. Because you got to remember, Belichick is the reason why his trainer got thrown out. Belichick is a very oriented guy that we know about him. He's existed with Tom Brady because Tom Brady likes to win, but it wouldn't surprise me if he goes to a team like the Bears, who's ready made to win, and dethrones Aaron Rodgers as the best quarterback in that division and goes on to try and beat Belichick in the championship. He's a competitor. He's always had a chip on his shoulder. He always has believed that he has been looked down upon. And hearing constantly, you're a system quarterback and that Belichick has made you, and even looking back when Josh McDaniels wasn't there, the offense wasn't as good. Now that he's back, the offense is back. I think all that stuff fires Brady up
Yeah.
more than any of us know.
I would debate
And,
on the offense being back this year, but that's neither here nor there.
but I'm just saying, I could, it wouldn't surprise me if he does go to another team. He thinks he can play until he's like 93. So wouldn't surprise me if he thinks he can go to another team and win. And hey, Tom Brady, I hate you for the moment, but it looks like the Jets might need a quarterback soon. If Darnold keeps playing this way, come on over.
All right. I'm not going to lie to you. It sounds nice in theory. I just don't see it happening. I like to go off of what happened in the past and the consistent pattern that we've seen with these stories. I understand what you're saying. They're both alphas. They both Brady probably really wants to prove it, but I just don't see it. I just don't see it. You already have your winnings. You already have everything. You have a hot wife at home and kids. You have no real reason to go out other than your ego. Unless his ego has inflated that much, which I really don't believe it has, because honestly, he kind of seems like somewhat of a humble guy in interviews. But unless his ego is inflated that much, I don't think I don't think he's going to another team. I cannot believe it. Like I get the reasons, I get it all, but I cannot completely believe it. Like I can't halfway believe it. Honestly, I don't think he's leaving.
The biggest egomaniacal maniacs are great at hiding it, number one. And number two, David, I just became so proud of you. You are a seasoned Jets fan, and you know not to believe anything that could be positive for us in the future until it happens.
You don't want to believe anything positive at all until it happens. There needs to be proof here.
Speaking of the Jets, God, what is there to say about the Jets? So much to say about the Jets. But it's all been said. Dave, we've been through this. You are 8 years younger than me, I think. I'm an old man.
8 years younger. I'm happy you remembered that.
8 years more of torture than you've had.
Mm-hmm.
I'll discount 3, though, so maybe 5. I became aware probably of my existence at 4, really, 3, 4. Became a Jets fan probably around 5. So a little bit more time to suffer than you. Correct?
Yeah.
We came into this season as Jet fans, and we were very excited about what could be. We knew to temper it a little besides Joe Hackett of the playbook, because Joe Hackett is insane. But we knew to temper it. We knew the what-ifs on Darnold, that he could be great, could be okay. He decided to kiss hookers, and we missed him for a little, but that's okay. We thought we had a great middle linebacking core with Avery Williamson and C.J. Mosley. Injuries happen.
Supposed to be good.
Okay. Secondary, we thought True was going to turn it around. That was a little bit of a, whatever. We were going to be good with True. He's awful. We have Marcus Maybach. He's been a decent player. Adams, the league has it out for him. But I don't think we ever imagined that this offensive line was going to be the worst unit in the AAF, not even in the NFL. They would not survive in the AAF. And there's some guys that played well last year when Brian Winters was there.
Yeah.
And, and there's certain guys that you thought were going to turn it around and be okay. They are easily the worst offensive line unit I've ever seen in Jets history. And it's sad to see because we have Le'Veon Bell back there who looks like old Le'Veon Bell every time he touches the ball, but he's getting killed.
He's trying, man.
He's trying. Sam Darnold, I said it to you. This isn't just going to be me reactionary to him now. David, I told everyone in the group, I told all my friends, anyone to listen, why did I not want Sam Darnold? He had amazing talent, but he is turnover prone. He tends to force it, and he has too much confidence in his arm. And what have we seen? Yes, there's been a lot of pressure in his face, but he's making bad decisions. He's throwing off his back foot. His mechanics are gone. It's tough. I didn't want to be right about Darnold, and I'm not saying I am. Through this sample right here, we have seen brilliance, and we have seen Sanchez, Geno Smith-esque stuff. And it's scary. And I'm not going to put the blame on Joe Douglas. He's first year.
You can't.
He's trying as a
You literally can't. Everything was done with McCagnon.
You can't. But, God, how do we not have the depth? And they're trying their best at middle linebacker. I say Blake Cashman's doing good. Hewitt was out this week, and he was starting to hit his stride.
Yeah.
but
We had to call up practice squad Burgess up.
we don't have a single guy that can really rush the passer with any sort of consistency. Anderson's hurt, so he's out for the year. So I'm not going to, he looked like he could have been something, but this has been an ongoing thing. We got rid of Leonard Williams. We have another middle interior lineman who's basically a worse version of Snacks. I'm sorry, Quentin Williams has not shown me anything yet. He's had some good flashes, but he hasn't showed me as much as what Leonard Williams, Sheldon Richardson, or Muhammad Wilkerson showed in their rookie years. So that concerns me. And then Adam Gase and even Greg Williams. I had hope for both of them. Everyone told me not to trust Gase. Everyone told me not to trust him. And I knew, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. Tannehill was always hurt, couldn't really run what he wanted to. He did as good as he could with Matt Moore, basically. And it was tough. I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. So what does he do? Yes, he had Luke Falk and Trevor Siemian. So I'm not going to judge him off those games. The first game coaching with the Jets, first game coaching with Darnold. We got a lead. We lost it. Second half looked terrible. Okay, whatever. This past game, what happens, Dave? First scripted plays, 11 plays, awesome. Jets are moving it. Robbie Anderson's involved. Darnold looks sharp. A lot of quick game, running the ball timely, touchdown, right? What does he continue to do after that? A terrible line. What does he do? He's predictable on first down running the football. He goes to 5-step drop where Darnold has no time. Oh, and what do you know? Whenever they ran quick game, it worked again. And I don't know who the color commentary guy, Arioletta, whatever the hell his name is, at one point goes, quick game works, but you can't run it all the time. You have to go into a regular drop. And I'm just thinking, we just talked about Tom Brady, right? And Peyton Manning. What did both of those guys do better than anybody else? Quick game, slants, little drags. And what is one of the most prolific offenses of all time? The West Coast offense, which is basically glorified quick game.
Yeah.
They use the pass to create the run. And we have a perfect running back behind us that can be that type of guy like Joseph Adai was for Peyton Manning for all those years, where he basically caught the ball 2 yards deep and ran. And that was his runs.
Yeah, but he's better than Joseph Adai.
Significantly better. And there were timely runs. And he's trying to run play action to free up Darnold, but you can't run play action when nobody's scared of the run because this line can't block. So there's no adjustments, and the adjustments he's making are terrible. And then on Greg Williams, I'm sorry, your system is your system, but you got to adjust. You can't cover anybody with your corners. When Roberts is your best cover corner, that's a problem. You can't cover anyone, and you have no pass rush. So you can't run your system, Greg Williams. I'm sorry. And if this is all you know, if this is all him and Gase know, then they got to be gone. It's been terrible to watch. And again, I'm no football guru. I played for a little. I coached for a little. I'm not at their level, without a doubt. But just watching from a little bit perspective of knowing something, they are getting out-coached, and we also don't have the personnel. And I'm already onto the Nets and the New York Guardians. The season's over.
Yeah. Honestly, after the Patriots loss, you were hoping for a bounce back against the Jaguars. You were hoping for, obviously, competition, obviously, some life. And we saw it in that first drive. It looked great. We were like, okay, we got something back. But then you have multiple drives of negative yards.
Did he get sacked 8 times, 9 times?
And getting sacked 8 times. That's the whole problem here. If you're moving the ball and then you get stopped, that's understandable. That happens to every single offense. But multiple 3-and-outs, multiple drives, not even drives, multiple reverses, multiple negative yardage drives, and it doesn't look good for an offensive guru. That's the whole thing. And the whole reason why we wanted Todd Bowles out and other coaches out is because the team started to look lifeless. And right now it's already kind of starting to look lifeless. We better perform against the Dolphins, otherwise people are going to get even angrier. If we lose to the Dolphins,
is fired. If we lose to the Dolphins, he's gone. If we lose to the
Dolphins next week, then Gase is probably fired. That would be an utter embarrassment. And honestly, if we lose to the Dolphins next week, I kind of want Chris Johnson to sell the damn team. Woody hasn't been around, but Chris Johnson, I'm sorry, you hired the coach. You for some reason kept McCagnon when you let go of Todd Bowles, but you hired Adam Gase and put him under McCagnon, even though you get rid of the guy right after the offseason, right after he made all those moves. That's asinine. But you hired a coach and you say, okay, everyone's really hyped up for this season, but there's no playoff mandate. I'm sorry, Chris Johnson, but you need to set some kind of high bar for this guy here. Make it a goddamn playoff mandate. Make him. It's New York. It's New York sports. I'm sorry.
It should be a Super Bowl mandate or bust only. That's what the great.
When you're in New York, you talk your ish and you back it up. That's how it's supposed to be. It hasn't been for a long time in basically all New York sports, but that's how it's supposed to be in New York. And you know who's the last person that did that? Rex goddamn Ryan. And honestly, it is a sad day in New York Jets history when we're pining for Rex. I guarantee you right now, people would want Rex Ryan back because he talked a lot of ish, but we got to the playoffs and we got to the championship multiple times with Mark Sanchez as our QB. So I listen. The problem here is it's happening all the time with our coaches, and I don't know what exactly it is. I don't know if it's ownership, but I mean, if it's a pattern at this point. But if we always seem to lose life, like completely lose life, it's not even like competition in the football game. The Jags dominated us. The scoreboard made it not look too bad, but the Jags dominated us, and that's the whole problem. Like, if we're moving the ball and we're just stalling out, there are things you can work on to make that better. But many, many drives of negative yardage, 8 sacks in a game, it looks atrocious. And I know the line's bad. I know we've had a lot of injuries this year, way too many injuries, which is another thing you have to get shored up, because that's a training staff thing. No one should be getting injured that much. Ever. I don't care how unlucky you are. But it's a lot of things that need to be changed on one Jets drive. And it's unfortunate that we have to be here after, honestly, it looked like it would still be a somewhat promising season at the beginning of the year. We had parts around us. We had things that should have, if they just performed as they were expected, we might be at 8-8. We would have been an 8-18, maybe 7-9. But that would have been nice to see. But no, of course not. Of course not.
It's been tough to watch too, because it's little basic things. Like, I don't know if Sam understands the calls right now to adjust his line, because he's not seeing blitzes that are coming in and he's getting killed, because that has to do with Sam too. Sam's not calling, obviously, the pre-snap stuff. And on top of that, what is Gase doing? If you want to go to a 5-step and you know you have a bad line, why are you sending your tight end out? Why are you sending Le'Veon Bell out for routes on certain plays? If you know you're struggling, you got to keep these guys in and just tell your receivers to win their matchups. That's really all there is to it, because Sam doesn't have the time to make the passes. And when he had time, he was fine. But when he had a little inkling of pressure, he broke down, and that really concerns me.
The biggest thing here is, I completely get your problems with Sam. Yeah, he has a turnover problem. But we brought Gase in to nurture Sam, to make him the QB he's supposed to be. What we saw in those last 4 games of last season was ridiculous. But right now, we are ruining Sam Darnold. He is legitimately afraid back there. 8 sacks in a game, multiple times. I'm pretty sure. How much did the Pats have on us? 10?
I didn't watch. I stopped watching the Pats game.
Well, I had to as well. I had work in the morning, so I couldn't stay up for that. I wasn't staying up for that. But anyway.
I was drinking beers in South Carolina, and I was not going to let that ruin my day.
Any QB that is getting sacked that much, especially a second-year QB, of course you're going to start good. I'm not trying to justify anything Sam Darnold's doing, but of course you're going to go off your mechanics. You're going to throw off your back foot. You're going to try to play hero ball. You're going to try that because nothing else is going to work. Absolutely nothing else. Obviously, he should have thrown it away on his first pick. He should have done a bunch of things, but the kid is completely rattled. And it's unfortunate that we have to watch this, because we may be completely ruining his career when the kid had a lot of talent.
Agreed. And before we move on to the next topic, kudos to Jacksonville for playing Ghostbusters at the end of that game.
Okay, awesome. Listen, hey man, yeah, exactly. If you don't want to get taunted, if you don't want that to happen, win the game. That's simple. Prove them wrong. And that's the whole way you stop that, is you win and you prove them wrong. All right. But enough about the Jets. Enough about being angry. We're going to move on to the We're going to move on to the NBA. Starting off in the first 2 games of the season, we had LA versus LA opening up at the night game, And then we had Brooklyn versus New York, the round one of each of those games. You put down here one matters, one doesn't. I'm not sure which one you're thinking matters and one doesn't. I want to hear that first from you, but I'm going to go over the other stuff real quick. You all, you also had here Luka versus Trey, which I'm excited for just the future of the NBA between those two. And you know what? We're gonna go to one matters, one doesn't. I want to hear what the hell you have to say about this. Which one matters, which one doesn't?
All right, first, the one that doesn't matter, Brooklyn versus New York has no bearing. Okay. None whatsoever. There are two teams at two different places right now. Brooklyn has their superstars. KD will come back. Kyrie's there. They have a good young core around them. Yes, they lost to the Grizzlies yesterday, but I see it as more of the guys trying to learn to play with each other.
I don't.
Kyrie's been stupendous. So
yeah, I don't care about that loss. Yeah, it hurts, but you know what? Just play better defense. We'll play better defense. Valanciunas won't make 3 threes in a goddamn row. Like they're just hitting their shots. Whatever. Exactly. We hit 130. We put up 133. I don't care.
And it was an away game. And away games, you got to. They're tough to win in general, but you got to win them. The goal is to go 500 away. So that's always the goal of every team, even Golden State when they were dominant. That's always your goal. But that game doesn't matter because New York is in a different spot than the Brooklyn is. New York is kind of where Brooklyn was about 2-3 years ago, where they have a bunch of good players. Julius Randle is very good. Mitchell Robinson is superstar almost. He's going to be a superstar. I'm convinced. He's fantastic. And then you have a bunch of sixth men. And yes, I'm including RJ Barrett.
Oh, he's showing out early. I mean, he might cool down, but he's playing pretty well, dude.
He has a good NBA body. He knows how to use it. But when film gets on him, when teams discover his weaknesses and really find out what he can and can't do, it will be exploited. Mark my words.
I want to see it. Now, I want to see it. Listen,
and
if he turns out really good, I want to see that too.
Alonzo Trier needs to start, and he needs to be the focal point of that team.
100%. He's a monster.
He is whether he's a superstar or not, he has a Lou Williams-esque ability to score.
Exactly.
And if that is his ceiling, you have a superstar sixth man that can start on any team. Jamal Crawford, Manu Ginobili-esque.
Yeah.
And the best part about it is, mark my words, he is not a Knick when he needs to get paid. They don't pay guys like that. He will be somewhere else winning a championship as a sixth man. And I'm excited for that because whatever Knicks. So that game does not matter. Because it's fun rivalry to talk trash, and it's been cool to see, Knicks fans and Nets fans embracing. It's awesome, but it really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. In 2 more years, hopefully the Nets can continue to grow and the Knicks will be there because I think people say don't talk about Giannis going there. There's a real chance Giannis goes there. If this team is constituted the way it is and they show that they can play like this, there's no reason for Giannis Antetokounmpo not to come to the Knicks. So no reason for him not to come if they are a team ready to go.
I don't know about that one.
Oh, listen, everyone says, markets don't matter with the internet. Shut up. Markets matter. There's a reason why people wanted to go to LA and not Oklahoma City.
I don't know about that one.
To the game that matters. LA versus LA absolutely matters. You have the Clippers who are, I think, a little overrated. Kawhi went there, so everyone's going nuts. Paul George is there. They're very good. I'm still jury's out on how good they can be. They're going to be in the West. They're going to definitely be a top 2, if not the best team record-wise. But we'll see what happens when they gel really. Paul George has not been the best second man ever. He's not good at playing second fiddle. We saw that in OKC. He wants the ball, so we'll see how that works in crunch time when Kawhi's like, no, sit down, son. Lakers, I'm sorry. Has anyone been watching the Lakers? LeBron's the best player on the planet. Can we stop this nonsense? LeBron had a stat line that would have been Kawhi's best stat line of his career, and it was a normal game for him. He had 10 assists, 7 rebounds, and 32 points. That's Kawhi's best ever game because Kawhi doesn't do assists like that. So can we stop this nonsense? Kawhi's the best player. No. LeBron's the best player on the planet. So that game mattered, and it was fun to see, and I'm excited for their rivalry. So how do you feel about any of that nonsense?
No, I agree with you. I would say the only reason that Brooklyn and New York would matter is a lot of that chatter about like, oh, it's always a Knicks town and like the Nets. No, it is, but I mean, like
best, it's going to be 60-40, and that's at its best. And
that'd be great. That'd be great, especially if the Nets have championships on our mantle. But anyway, LA versus LA is the bigger one. Obviously, it's the one that really matters, and if you listen to the podcast with Rob that I did, I picked the Lakers to go to the championship because of LeBron, and I still feel the same way. But it's just going to be a fun rivalry in LA for the whole time that those teams are dominant.
And Twitter's got to stop the Patrick Beverly hate. Because I know Patrick Beverly's been talking some trash, but they're all like, when Patrick Beverly don't score no points, and then Kawhi hits a game winner, and they see it's like Pat Beverly's been one of the best defenders in a league where you cannot defend anymore, and he's undersized.
Dude, he's the Black Air Force One mentality.
He don't gotta score as long as he plays that D. That's all he needs to do.
Don't you ever say that again? Okay, we're gonna move on to.
I hate you so much.
We're gonna move on to a Luka versus Trey, which. Rising superstars in the league, honestly, after just seeing the first 3 games of them.
I will say this quickly. Luka, yes, 100%. I am wrong about Trey Young being, I wasn't high on him. I will not say superstar yet.
He's
3
getting
games
there, dude.
does not make you a
no
superstar.
Doubt.
I'm
No
the Atlanta
doubt.
Hawks #1.
No doubt. But this is just continued play from how he was at the end of last year. He was very good at to make the Hawks
tired. He got tired in college. Will he get tired?
He might. He very well might. But we have to see that. But right now, starting off on an Atlanta Hawks team that no one cares about and making them somewhat relevant, that's really good for them. That's really good for them. People want to come play with Ice Trey if he's consistent throughout the whole year. And Luka is an absolute monster.
Ever, by the way. Ice Trey's fantastic.
Oh, yeah. It's a great nickname. I hope he does great just because of it. But Luka, and I picked the sleepers for the West, the Mavericks, because of Luka and Porzingis. And Luka's an absolute monster. Was since last year. He doesn't look fast. He doesn't do everything is just fluid. He is the most fluid person on the floor, and it's amazing to watch.
Can we take 1 second though? Can you laugh with me? I'm sorry, we're going to make fun of Knicks fans right now, but can you laugh with me that they gave up Kristaps Porzingis? I don't care if he was disgruntled.
Yeah,
and then they had enough goal to talk trash about him. Like is he one of the most talented big men in the game?
The unicorn, man. Listen, everyone has to fear the unicorn. Everyone.
And then the guy they traded for him, Dennis Smith Jr., was getting booed because they want to see Frank Ntilikina over him.
I feel bad for DSJ, man. He started off his career well, and he went to New York, and now everyone dislikes him because it's New York.
He doesn't deserve that, especially when they see Frank Ntilikina, and Frank Ntilikina is going to hit as many threes as Ben Simmons. So Knicks fans are supposed to be, we're so basketball IQ heavy, and then you're calling for Frank.
Yeah,
check yourselves.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be fun to see, and I could definitely see the Mavericks being a sleeper because they have all the makings of a really good team, and we've seen big 2s over big 3s have become the new thing.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of players are looking at it. A lot of the superstars are going, if there's only 2 of us, we can get more. And, I think they saw it also worked for a little while with Westbrook and Durant in OKC, where Harden left, and those 2 were still – Serge Ibaka was the quote-unquote third member of the Big 3, but the third member is kind of throwaway right now, where I love Karis LeVert, but he's going to be the third member when Kevin Durant becomes healthy. It's going to be Kevin, Kyrie, and then LeVert is going to be there, but Spencer Dinwiddie being the 6th man may end up being more important, and I love Karis LeVert.
Yeah, well, the biggest thing about the Big 3 is that your third person is not really supposed to be too much of a superstar. Like, he might be a star, but he's a dependable bucket. I mean, you look at the Miami Heat when they came together. LeBron and D-Wade, superstars. Chris Bosh, extremely good player. But when he got there, he understood he's the dependable bucket. He's not the Chris Bosh from the
was a
Raptors.
Superstar when he went there.
But he knew what he was supposed to be when he went there.
Agreed, but it's still disrespectful to call Chris Bosh. He might have lost his status in terms of play, but in terms of talent, it never left.
Well, that's true. But I mean, I'm just saying, like,
where Kevin Love seemed to lose his talent. He seemed to go Space Jam every once in a while, and the aliens stole it for like half a season when Kevin Love was in that situation.
Yeah, that was weird. But still, about Luka and Porzingis and the Mavericks, listen, they may not – listen, I think they're going to make the playoffs this year. I still believe it. But obviously, they're not going to win a championship, but I think they're going to be a coming giant in a few years.
I like it. And the West is absolutely wide open. for the first time in a long time, Dave.
Oh,
It's pretty crazy. Right now, what do we have? We have Golden State starting off 0-2.
yeah. We have
Clippers
Golden State
lost to
the
Go ahead.
Suns. The
Yep.
Suns. The Clips lost to the Suns. No one, especially after Ayton got caught with drugs,
Yep.
no one expected the Suns to even do anything to the Clippers and to beat the Clippers. But I mean, you can put that on, new team stuff. But still,
You know
that's
what?
great for the Suns.
It's great for the Suns, and I have to say, what this whole entire moving of the big three, the breaking up of Golden State type of, and everyone's ripping on Steph now. No Clay, and what is he? Steph's still great. Shut up. He's still a top 10 player, if not top 5 player. Quiet. But what I really think it did is the league evened out a lot more, and I think this quote unquote vaunted
It's
West stuff might go away.
Parody.
It's a
parody.
Well,
We
'cause you look
finally
at-
got it.
Yeah, you look at teams in the East, and the Bucks, the Sixers match up against anyone in the West well. They really do.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be interesting to watch. And I've never bought into the whole entire vaunted West thing anyway. I always thought it was LeBron avoidance, and that's why the West was so big.
Listen.
In his prime, no one wanted to go through LeBron. It was easier to go through each other than it was to go through LeBron. That's always been my theory. Like, that's it.
Okay, but listen. Right now, you have in the West. Everyone loves the Lakers and the Clippers. Like I said, I'm picking the Lakers to still go to the championship because of LeBron. But right now, the
Trailblazers.
I think that's what I was getting on. The most complete teams in the West right now are the Blazers, the Nuggets, the Jazz. Those are the most complete teams in the West, depending on experience and every
Nurkic
role
is
being
back too for the Blazers, and
Yeah.
Nurkic is a
Yeah.
huge part for that team.
Yeah, that's exactly what we talked about on Wednesday, my man. But like they're the most complete teams with experience with each other, chemistry, knowing their roles. Those are the most complete teams there. Both the LA teams need to figure themselves out this year.
Mhm.
Obviously, they have a lot of star power. They had a lot of movement in the offseason, but they need to figure themselves out. And it wouldn't be too surprising to see them lose to one of these complete teams that know each other so well.
Yep.
And that's the most exciting part about this. It's not just, okay, let's put 5 all-stars on a team and the rest of the NBA have fun. That's the most exciting part. You have complete teams. You have teams with superstars. It's looking like a more fun NBA now, only if they actually did something about China, and it would have been a completely fun year. If they just did something right there, it would have been a great year for the NBA.
Well, let's quell your excitement even more, because did you watch Knicks versus Nets?
Yes.
How watchable was that game in the second half?
It was disgusting. The turnovers and everything was awful, but the officiating is annoying.
It's been, and when you hear the announcers, and they do their best to try and defend them. They do their best to say, this is a point of emphasis.
Yeah.
But you know what, though? That's what the preseason's for. Not the regular. And you're asking guys who have quite literally played, and this is the same issue in the NFL now, quite literally played exactly this way from the moment they could dribble a basketball. And now you're asking them to change, the explosive guys, asking them to change the way they play. And they're being brutal to everyone. It doesn't matter who you are. They're calling.
100%.
The travels have been outrageous across the board, and it makes the games terrible to watch. And this is not just an epidemic in basketball. It is not just an epidemic in football. It is sports wide. This whole get it right culture is ruining the fun of sports. You have all these people who are like, no, I'd rather see them go to replay 33 times and get every single call right, because that's the important. It keeps the spirit of the game. No. Players deciding the game is what's fun. Human error is fun. Getting that break this week that you don't get next week sucks sometimes, but it's part of the game. Officials were not meant to put themselves in the games. They were meant to sit there and just stand around and basically guide the game and make sure it's within the rules for the most part. Miss some things, whatever. But this whole get it right culture, and people complain like, oh, this is terrible. But they're the same people that also go, replay is necessary. And it's like, no, it isn't. Instant replay was fun for us to watch things in slow-mo and see guys' faces when they were getting crunched in football or elbow to the head from Charles Barkley in basketball. It's not meant to do what it is. The abuse of replay is terrible. And they need to get back, which they're never going to do because they're stupid, but they need to get back to letting players play. I'm so tired of watching officials implant themselves in everything.
No, I completely get what you're saying. I had a full-on rant about this before too. You know what I want from them: blatant and egregious. That's all they should be calling. That's all they should. The most annoying part about this is I should never know an official's name.
And we know them all.
We know most of them. We know most of their squads too. We know how they're going to call this team.
And what I hate,
they're always mean to this team.
What I hate is the blatant makeup calls. And it happens, and I'm picking on basketball and football because these are the two most frequent ones where officials are really implanted in, is, in football, I call it the "you did a good thing" play. Certain teams, if you do a good thing and change momentum, the Jets get this all the time. The Browns get it. Certain teams have stigmas in the NFL. The Nets are starting to get it off them because we have Kyrie. If you have a superstar in the NBA, you don't get that stigma as much. They can kind of get away with it. But the Jets, perfect example, against the Jags, who I don't think are a team that deserves this, but they had a potential momentum-changing play, and all of a sudden it was called back. And then I think we ended up punting.
Well, I mean,
and then all of a sudden it ends up being a momentum changing play. And it was, to me, I said, I'm like, oh, this was you did something good play. And then the very next possession, they called holding on the Jags. I think it was like a fumble or something. The Jets recovered it or something crazy. And then they called holding, and it was a makeup call. And it happens in basketball where they'll call a stupid call that changes the game, and then they'll call a little hand check to even it out.
Yeah,
it's terrible, and I hate it's so blatant. They don't even try to hide it anymore.
And this happened in the Bucks Titans game this week. The Titans went for a fake field goal or fake punt or something like that. I think it's fake field goal. Running it out, gets absolutely destroyed, fumbles, and then they blow it dead early. The Bucks would have taken the lead. 100% taken the lead on a clean and fair play, and they blew it early. I thought we were done with this year. They were doing pretty nicely at one point. Most of them weren't blowing it early. They were letting it run. Then you review it afterwards. But this guy decided to blow it early. And, the Bucks, had ample chances. Jameis threw it away. But it's very hurtful to the team. It hurts their momentum. It hurts a lot of things that could have happened in that game. And it just it always brings me back to it. Not honestly, it might be a little harder to be an official in the basketball because there's so many chippy things, and they're honestly kind of annoying, some of the players with what they want. But I still firmly believe you should only call it when it's blatant and egregious. And you know what? Sport may have officials doing some of the best work? Baseball may have some of the officials doing the best work. Because listen, I know sometimes umps have really crazy strike zones, but you usually know what that ump's going to call after like the first two innings.
Yeah, but at the same time, I have a big problem when they sit there and there's a close play and the manager can hold his hand up and play can stop for 30 seconds.
That is true. That is very
No. Suck it. You get till the next pitch. Like football, they run and try and run a play so they can't throw the challenge flag. You get until the pitcher throws the next pitch. Enough with this stupid hand-up thing because that slows down the game, and then everyone stops. If I'm the ump, I'm giving him the finger, actually giving him the finger and go and play ball.
Yeah.
And if you delay, it's a penalty somewhat against the other team, either they're out or a strike or an extra strike or a ball, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But that's nonsense.
Yeah, and I that's what we're finding with sports and officiating right now is that the games are taking longer, and a lot more of the spotlight is on the officials when it never should be. We should never be caring this much about what was called in these games. Because listen, if you miss a call, most of the time that team should have been able to do things with multiple other plays before and after that play. But if you make a bad call, then if you make a holding, that sends them back 10 yards, and that ruins their drive most of the time.
Yep.
Like, especially in the NFL. Like, it's tough, man. It's tough to be an official, but I really feel like we should be telling them to swallow the whistle, let them play.
Overall, they're being told to err on the side of caution and call more penalties than less because they can review it and everything now. But honestly, this has to do, I think, a lot with overall culture in this country. And it's the that's not fair culture. We hear that all the time. That's one of my biggest pet peeves when I hear people saying, well, that's not fair. You're told as a child to stop saying that. You're told, maybe kids aren't told anymore that life's just not fair. So buck up, kiddo, and stop saying that. But we're big, our whole entire generation, the millennials, which I hate that term too, because all the whole entire generation things are stupid. But for lack of a better term, we are the everyone gets a trophy and that's not fair group. And I'm going to say it that way because that's how everybody sounds when they say it. And in terms of that, that's where the whole entire get it right goes to, because everyone wants to be fair. And the sad part is sports aren't always fair. You learn your best lessons when you get screwed. We played Manchester football. We knew about getting screwed. But you learn your best lessons sometimes when you're screwed.
We're also bad teams. Yes. We need to just be better.
Exactly. But and I think it has a lot to do with the culture, because you have a bunch of people that raised us who obviously believe in that nonsense running this now, and they're all sitting there looking and going, it needs to be fair. And you know what? What makes it fair is if we get every play right. And no, that's not, human error is fantastic. It's a part of us. It makes human. And to take that out and try and make everyone a drone is just, it's, I don't know. The get it right culture needs to go away. And I think that has to do a lot with, we need to change the that's not fair culture to the shut up and work harder culture. It needs to go back to that.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, we're losing a lot of fun in sports because of this. And you're going to bring up one of the fun parts of what happened in the World Series.
Yeah, so after the rant, we are going to, after the Yankees got out, I stopped caring about the World Series because screw the Astros and the Nationals or whatever. Don't care about the Nationals. But my interest peaked today when I found out that.
I don't think you can say that.
Oh, why can't I say that? Absolutely, I can say that. But Garrett Cole was trying to pitch in the 7th inning of the World Series, and he's trying to take signs, and just a little bit over the catcher's shoulder, right shoulder, till his left view, are these two, nice-looking females, and they just so happen to pull up their shirts and expose their breasts.
Oh, it just so happened. They were reaching for something above. I mean, all of a sudden, it just took it up with it. No,
I Twitter scrolled because I wanted to find out who these human beings were. And one of them wrote, the wind just kind of caught my shirt, which is great. But I found out, do some digging, their names, their models, Julia Rose and Lauren Summer. And the one Julia Rose, I guess she started a thing named Shagbag or something like that. Shagbag. It's a weird magazine name. But apparently they did it to raise breast cancer awareness. And all of their proceeds to this magazine issue, I think it's for this month, are going to go to help breast cancer people pay for their medical bills. So it's a cool cause. And if more people want to do things like this, I encourage it, please. But what happened was, they flashed. It was, thank you. But MLB responded by kicking them out, which obviously they're going to do. That's against the rules.
There, man.
But then they ban them for life. That's a little excessive, don't you think? Banning them for life for flashing. It's not like, you can compare it, I guess, to the streaker, but the streaker completely interferes with the game, runs across it. You can't play it. Garrett Cole chose to stop and be distracted. A real player has tunnel vision. Did
he stop and be distracted? I don't know if you could even see them. I don't know. I don't know how it looks when you're on the baseball field with the lights and everything. Because when you're on a stage, you can't see anyone in the crowd. So that's the thing.
He was taking the sign. They flashed. It panned to him. He stepped off the mound. The ump walked towards that direction. He noticed them. He absolutely noticed them.
Okay, that's hilarious. I didn't think he would actually notice them.
So, in Major League Baseball, they've been having issues with popularity. Maybe we need more of this. Maybe they need to rethink their strategy here. Instead of banning them for life, invite them to every game and make it a crunch time thing when it's a big moment.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you have to make sure you pay attention.
Just hire a bunch of their models to do this. And I think baseball will become extremely more exciting if that happens. But honestly, though, this is something to capitalize on because, yes, what they did was obviously not within the rules. I think banning them for life is excessive. I still agree with that. But if you're Major League Baseball, and you hear about their cause. Like, yeah, they went about it the wrong way and they were banned for promoting their own thing and whatever. Why don't you jump on top of this and go, you know what? They're trying to support breast cancer. We're going to donate to their breast cancer charity. And we also want to partner with the magazine and get their message out there instead of just or doing something with them. Maybe not even partnering, but donating to a charity of their cause so that they don't have to come and do this anymore. Capitalize on this. Don't just ban them.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think a lifetime ban is reasonable. I feel like they really overreacted to that one. Maybe because that video probably got more publicity than the World Series itself. But dude, it's down. It's down this year, so it's not looking good for them. But
well, I've said it before. MLB is the only league that can't put a good fix in. You telling me you screwed up fixing the Yankees again? And NBA and football knows how to put a good fix in. A la the Patriots getting in all the time, a la the Lakers getting the ping pong balls, and it works that way. So they deserve it.
Listen, I don't know. It's funny. That's what it is. It's funny. It's a good time. MLB just looks like they don't like a good time by giving them a lifetime ban. Maybe saying, okay, you can't come from like a year. I don't care about that. Like, I don't even think they really wanted to be there other than for that. So that's the thing. I don't even know if the lifetime ban really does anything to them. Like, they're just going to be like, okay, I didn't even care about baseball. I just want to promote my thing. So, like, I don't know. But I also do know that the only reason I found out about this was because Barstool posted one of the chicks because of what happened.
Absolutely.
And it's always hilarious. But
so, again, thank you, Julia Rose and Lauren Summer, for making baseball interesting. We appreciate it because the league and the World Series sure as hell isn't. All right. But with that note, David, it was fun to be back.
It was a fun and long one.
It was a long one. I'm sorry. I had a lot to say, everybody.
No, you're good. I looked down at the time. I'm like, oh, man, I'm supposed to be asleep by now.
Yeah, me too, actually. But again, this is Cuesta Dose. Me and my brother David here talking about some sports. I'm Alex Cuesta. Find me on Twitter and Instagram at @Cuesta30. Find David on Twitter at DQuesta308. Instagram, Cuesta Cola.
Thank you.
And find Sports Opinions on Twitter at SportsOpinion30. Instagram, Sports Opinions 30. Search for us on Facebook. And wherever you were listening to this, spread the word. Hit 5 stars. Give a good review. And tell people to come and listen to us so you can hear us talking more about people flashing at sports games. But again, with that, David, say so long to everybody.
So long, everyone. Oh, also, if you ever feel like, if you listen to this, if you ever feel like having us talk about something, just message us. I would love to talk about anything people want to hear about.
Yes, tweet us and we will respond. Yes. And if we don't like the topic, we won't talk about it. No, I'm kidding. Tweet us and we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. Have a good one.